Welcome to another teacher talk session tonight. And tonight we are going to have our 126th session with different educators from different part of the world. And tonight we are going to have a certified CELTA teacher and MAXQDA professional trainer, Khaled Alostath. When he comes, we are going to start our live sessions. And by the way, he's here. And let me invite him, then we can start our live session. Have a very fruitful session with Khalid tonight. And when he comes, I'm going to start. There he is. Yes. Okay, there you go. Yes. Hello, Khalid.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. It's great to see you. And
Thank you.
before starting our live sessions, I would like to say thank you very much for accepting my invitation to Teacher Talks and being my guest.
Thank you so
For
much.
126 session.
I am honored to be here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And if you are ready, we can start because I know that we are all busy. You are busy, and everybody are busy, and so we can start if you're ready.
Please, yeah.
Okay. So I know about you, Khalid, but maybe our followers would like to know about you. So can you tell us about yourself, please, and a bit about your experiences too?
All right. Thank you. Well, my name is Khaled Alostath. My last name stands for the teacher. So my name would mean the immortal teacher. My first name is very often confused across countries, across cultures. So since I'm teaching English in Turkey nowadays, my name is Khalid. The easiest way to say my name. I have a bachelor's degree in English language and translation from Palestine. I'm from Palestine. Palestine is in Palestine. And I have a master's degree in English language and literature from Istanbul Aydın University in Istanbul. I did graduate from Istanbul Aydın with my master's program in 2021. I did a study on how and why graduate students face problems with academic writing, which was all the participants in the study were case studies at the same time. I am also a certified CELTA teacher. I have just recently graduated from my program from Izmir Economy University. And also a MAXQDA professional trainer. MAXQDA is a qualitative data analysis software that is based in Berlin. So I provide trainings and workshop sessions for researchers and students who are working on qualitative data analysis. And at the same time, I'm English language teacher at Akem College in Lulaburgaz, which is a small city near to Istanbul. So I teach English there as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much, Khalid, and also congratulations for your graduation from CELTA. You said. Okay. And so let's move to another question, Khalid. And what was, or let's say, were your turning point or points in your own education?
Well, there were a couple of them, actually. I'm going to talk about the main two turning points. So after I graduated from high school, so the educational system in Palestine is similar in a way to the educational system in Turkey in terms of the 12th grade. So you graduate with all these big exams that you have to do that sort of, make your life miserable in a way. But we passed that stage, and then we faced with the reality where you needed to study for university. And back then, in my own country, I did not have the privilege of a choice, considering the political atmosphere and the situation there. So I had to make a tough choice between doing what my parents do all their lives, being a teacher, or doing something else which was needed back then, and still needed, of course, doing translation and program. The choice was tough because growing up with two parents who were teachers, I saw their struggle a lot, and I thought that this struggle is international. So I decided to go with the translation program. And I was not disappointed at all. However, the limitations of education back there and back then at the same time were limiting the chances of seeing the word from a different perspective. So that was a challenge that I came to solve in 2017.
I see.
So, yeah, and the other one is linked to learning the Turkish language when I first came to Turkey, which
I hope you didn't face any difficulties.
Well, as you say in Turkish, sorma. But it was not an easy experience. It was indeed a really hard, difficult, complicated experience. However, I emerged from it, and now I can speak Turkish perfectly well. So
wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, so great, and thank you very much for sharing your experiences and about your own education, Khaled. So Khaled, let's move to another question. But what I want to say is, like, probably you have tried in your language career or the teaching career, probably you have tried different methodologies and strategies to the students in your classes, and probably you have a kind of a philosophy. So what is it? What is your philosophy of teaching? Can you tell us about it?
Wow, okay. So my philosophy of teaching, it revolves around inspiring my students to think critically, live passionately, and embrace life. It's not like, if you look at it from outside, it would not look so educational or teaching wise, but it's where should it start? It's where should it start? So I firmly believe that education is not just about transforming knowledge from textbooks and from teacher to student. In fact, all my classrooms are student based. So it's a student. The students lead the classroom. The students do most of the work, and my philosophy of teaching reminds me of a great movie that I truly love, and my student, because some of them are hearing me now, they love it at the same time. It's called Dead Poets Society. There's this insanely crazy teacher, Mr. Keating. It's a fictional character, by the way. And he has his phrase, carpe diem, which is Latin for the phrase that means seize the day. So I always encourage my students, to embrace their uniqueness, to think independently, to share their knowledge, to be creative, to strive to create an environment where they feel empowered to express themselves freely. And another philosophy another point that comes to my mind when I think about my philosophy of teaching is, I think about what Mustafa Kemal Ataturk said about teachers. Teachers are the light that ignite the road for others. That be students or that be students or teachers or other individuals that we encounter in our teaching lives. So I think this is a very interesting and a very significant aspect in my philosophy of teaching. And at the same time, I always encourage my students and empower them to use literature in the classroom. And I think most of my lessons, there is no lesson that I don't use literature. And by literature, I don't mainly mean like novels. I mean drama at the same time, and prose, where students need to explore diverse perspectives and emotions to help them connect with the universal world. So my ultimate goal, philosophy-wise, is that to nurture lifelong learning, where students can approach life with curiosity, with courage, with thirst for exploration.
I see. Thank you very much, Khaled. This is a very, very, very important philosophy that you have. Thank you for sharing. And Khaled, probably, the people in their life, especially teachers, they in their, the education, not education, like the teaching career, probably they have a kind of a, the success stories in their career. We, as a teacher, we all have. And do you have any success stories which can you share with us?
Yeah, sure. Well, I have two of them. I think I would love to share two of them.
Sure,
The
sure.
first one goes back into 2015, 16. I was still a very young, new teacher uh, that did not know much about teaching back then. But I loved literature. I loved seeing my students read. However, the project I was working with was called Reading the Stars of Gaza. I was working with a group of children, and they were like orphaned children. And
Oh.
in that place, they did not have any access to books in English whatsoever, and there was limited environment where they can use English. And the problem was worse because they did not go to school. So
Mm,
that is like
I see.
so. I took it upon myself to find and make change there, and it was not easy, considering that the situation, again, the political atmosphere, even with books, when it comes to educational books, it was banned from entering the city. So I had to go all over the place. I emailed friends from the States, from UK, people that I know. I use social media. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, so social media back then was not as effective as now, but still it paid
Yeah.
off to try to collect books for students and bring them back to my city. And after working with different organizations, different people from the USA, from the UK, some of them were in Turkey, in fact, back then, we collected about 200 books. All of them were in English. And the problem was then that we had to bring them, to get them into the city.
Ah.
And people who knows Gaza or Gaza City, they know
Sure.
that's impossible to happen. So that involved lots of conversations and the political stance and contacting people via emails, like embassies in the United States, trying to just take a permit to leave the city for 1 hour, just to bring the books and come back. All I needed only 1 hour to bring books for kids to read, and that was even forbidden. Uh, it took about a year and a half to get these 100 books into the city. But after all this time, I did bring them, and I worked with the kids for about a year, doing literacy program with them. I recruited teachers from the city who would like to volunteer and help me with the program and teach English in a not within the school, the classroom. It was outdoors teaching learning experience. This
I
is the
see.
this is the first one. The second one is comes with a twist because when it comes to education, administrators sometimes think that the only way of teaching is within the classroom between four
Uh,
walls. And I always found this as a challenge, and I needed to break this barrier on my way. So in my first year of teaching in Turkey, or Turkey, it's hard to
Turkey.
decide on one. Right. Uh, uh, I approached in my workplace. It's not the current place I'm working with now. My current workplace is they are way much better. I'll be talking about them in a little bit. But my first working place, they refused the idea of outdoors teaching and learning, and they said just a waste of time and just finish the book and that's that. And I think that as teachers, we need to strive to break this bad habit that we just
Uh-huh.
need to teach the book. That's not how language works.
I
And I
see.
think I've tried to break that norm in a way. It worked partially, but still we have a long way to go.
I see. I would like to say congratulations for your success
Thank you.
stories, especially the first one, for the
Thank you
things
so
that
much.
you have done for the books.
Thank you.
You're great, really. Okay, so let's move to the another question, something related with the educational, Khalid. So, as an English teacher, let's say, how have you created and utilized authentic materials in the classroom to expose students to real-world language usage? Because as we all know that the authentic materials takes a really important place in language teaching. So what do you think?
This question makes me think about my CELTA course, because we had a couple of sessions about authentic materials, and one of the assignment was about authentic materials. I think authentic materials are a very key feature in the classroom, and we as teachers need to get more creative, and now we have the chance to do that, considering social media and the ChatGPT culture and everything.
Yeah.
Yes. Not necessarily that I am advocating for ChatGPT here. It's just it's one of the features or one of the tools that we use nowadays. I think I use during my teaching practice, especially in the last 3 years in my current workplace at Akim College, I have utilized lots of authentic materials in my classroom. One important example that comes to my mind is that there's this one activity I have done with the students there. So there's this video on TikTok. The video was by Candy Chang. She was discussing a project called "Before I Die, I Want to." And basically that the project revolves around people walking in the streets, and they have all these like written on the walls, "Before I die, I want to do something." And it was, and seeing the video that the people would just walk around with giant chalkboards asking to fill the questions. "Before I die, I want to do this and that." And I found like the idea is really interesting, you know. So I've decided to do it in my classroom. So we watched the video with the kids. First of all, it's not educational video, like it's authentic materials. This is what I'm trying to say, because it's not made for educational settings. So we did watch the video, and I asked them to take notes of any interesting things that they have seen or they have heard while we were listening and watching the video. And so like, yeah, John, we have got some interesting ideas, and they started sharing the ideas with me. It's like, this is nice. I wanna do this. I wanna do that. And then in that instant, the idea came to me. I was like, okay, I want every one of you to write 5 things you want to do before you die. And then we cut these. So we cut these papers like to smaller pieces, like every sentence, it's like every sentence like in one paper. And I was like, okay, fold them, and let's just like mix them, and then we will open them, and we will make one poem out of this. One poem out of the sentences that you have made. And the poem was "Before I die, I want to." And we ended up like doing this like every couple of months when they were like, "We want to do that activity," and we would go back to that and improvise. I think that's like on one of the days I asked them to use ChatGPT to ask ChatGPT to rearrange their sentences. So basically, all they wrote the sentences, the things they wanted to do before they die, and we asked ChatGPT to shuffle the sentences around and create it in a form of a poem, and they were talking about these poems and sharing them. It was really interesting experience. This is one of the activities, like one of my favorite activities when it comes to authentic materials. But also another activity.
Great activity, by the way.
Thank you, Jean. Blackout poetry. Blackout poetry is where you read a poem and you take sentences that you like from the text that you're reading, and you black the other parts that you don't like. I use this with newspapers. So there's this one time I walked in the classroom and I had the New York Times, I think, or it was the Daily News, I think it was a Turkish newspaper. I just seem not to remember the name exactly. And I asked them to find any text that they find interesting in the text and in the newspaper, and highlight the sentences that they liked. And I give them like allocated some good time for the activity to do. And when they finish, it's like, okay, the other parts that you don't like, black them out. And they did. And then they were like a bit confused at first because it was their first time doing it. And I did not provide them with instructions on what are they doing. And it was on purpose. It was on purpose that I did not do that. I just wanted them to say their reaction and their interaction with the activity itself, whether they liked it or not, mainly.
I see.
And I think it's really interesting activity when it comes to authentic materials, because imagine coming to the classroom one day and you have forgotten everything that you have, or you forget the flash or the driver that you have, and you have to come up with one activity, or you have 45 minutes to fill a lesson now. So, and at the same time, it improves their reading. I mean, they're reading a text and trying to find the meaning beyond the words that they're reading. So I think this is a very interesting aspect or authentic material way. There are lots of activities, but I'm gonna leave it for some other time.
All right then, thank you, Ali. By the way, thank you very much for these two really nice activities that you mentioned here. Really good. They're really interesting activities that we can use it. Thank you. So there's a question Azra is asking, if you can see it on the comment part. You use ChatGPT app in mobile or its site? Which one do you use it? Which one do you prefer?
Well, recently, I think ChatGPT now in Turkey have been like you can use ChatGPT now on phones, but most of the time, I would prefer them to use their phones because we have like easier access to phones, unless I have an activity that day that involves writing, where I ask them to bring their laptops, which something that my school advocates, like they are 100% agree with me on these things, and they always like helping me, do what I need to do, teaching wise. So yeah, on phones or like their laptops, as long as you set the clear instructions and avoid them being distracted in the classroom, that would really help them as well.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Khaled. Thank you very much for your answers for the question. Okay, so let me ask you another question. As you know that, Khaled, it's really difficult to follow the technology and adapt them in our lessons. But sometimes we face real difficulties because it's really, it's really fast, and it's really sometimes impossible to follow it, catch it up. So, but my question is related with this, with the technology one. How do you stay updated with the latest developments and trends in education, the language education? How do you do that?
There are a couple of, well, actually there are many, but there are like specifically a couple of organizations and affiliations in Turkey that I follow and I always stay connected with. The first one is TESOL Turkey. I think it's a great place to follow up with educational trends and seminars and webinars for teachers and educators. I really, the first time I've been introduced to the TESOL Turkey was last year before doing my CELTA, and I followed up and I attended some of their activities over the years. And recently I've joined them as member after taking my CELTA. So this is one of the organizations. The other one is INGED, INGED Turkey.
Sure,
and this is another great platform for teachers. Also, ELT Turkey on Instagram and then on Twitter, they always publish and materials and programs for teachers and for educators. Also, I am a big reader. I read all the time. So these things, reading empowers me and makes me connect more to the things that I do, which is teaching. Other places, we have like the British Council. We have webinars and PD for teachers all the time that they post on their websites, and online courses with certification for teachers. We have Macmillan education and like Inkash Turkey, like I mean, the list could go on and on and on, but it's not a platform for like to promote them, but it's a platform to raise awareness for other teachers who are like listening to us now, and like to join them, to follow them, and to hopefully for future cooperation with them at the same time.
Wonderful. I hope you do that. Okay, it's great. It's really great. And the sites and the TESOL Turkey and Inget, these are really important. The things for us, especially to follow the latest updates.
Yeah. Plus, like they always post opportunities for conferences and for seminars. I mean, I'm like this year, like especially this year, I have attended like at least 20 conferences, and like I did workshops, and then some of them, and I did not know about them. I did know about them because they were posted in TESOL Turkey and in Inget, and they were posted in ELT Turkey. So if I did not follow these places, if I were not following these platforms, I would have not known about them. So yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Khaled, for sharing them with us. All right, so let's move to another question. Khaled, it's related again with the education to language learning, like incorporating outdoors education into language learning, can be transformative. Like, can you discuss like when you utilize nature or the outdoor environment to create engaging English lessons that nurture like creativity, communication, and language skills?
Well, this is outdoors teaching is one of my favorite things to do, and I think this semester will be full of them because I was talking to my supervisor the other day at work, and it's like I have a plan of outdoors teaching this year.
Wonderful.
And he said, yeah, let's do it. One example that comes to my mind that I did and my student loved a lot last year. I took them to the forest without books, without any educational materials with us. All we did is like leave your phone, leave your bag, leave everything. We're going to the forest. And in the forest, we did one activity. We wrote poetry inspired by nature. So there's this poet. His name is John Clare. He wrote a poem called "I Am" back in 1844 or 48. Basically, this poem, it talks about the human nature and how you feel about things. It uses a very simple language. It's called like "I am." I feel, I cry, I wonder, I smell, I touch. It's really simple language, educational, and at the same time, it's very poetic. And for teachers who want to try this activity, they should check University of Illinois. They have this template for this poem. Just write "I am," University of Illinois, and they will find a template for this poem. I use it a lot in my classroom, and sometimes I go a little bit and change some parts or add some parts depending on the proficiency of my students. So the poem "I Am" is an activity with example of how we can incorporate outdoors teaching education into learning language. And this can be very transformative. The reasons why I do this activity is that I want my students to be outside the classroom. Imagine a classroom where we are like between four walls or sitting between trees. It's a beautiful spring day, and we're sitting in a classroom. I mean, I would not, as a teacher, like it. Imagine teenagers. So being in nature, and students can experiment with language and with learning. That means that they are learning through direct experience and observation, which can be more effective than a traditional classroom instructions. So basically, we went there, and I asked them to breathe in, breathe out, find a spot that they like, as long as I can see them, because we are in the forest. I mean, and they need to write this poem about how they feel, who are they using this template, this poem template. And I give them enough time, and I brought them coffee, and it's like, okay, it's your time to tell me who you are. And I think this is one of the activities that we could use in like the first days of the school, because we want to get to know our students. I mean, you don't have necessarily to go to the forest in the first week of the school, but you could go outside. Another reason why I use this activity, or like outdoors teaching, for a matter of fact, is that nature is really beautiful and transformative and can inspire creativity and imagination. And I want my students to think beyond the classroom. They want them to express their ideas in a poetic language. I'm a person who writes poetry every day, so I take this with me to the classroom as well. And at the same time, writing poems, or writing in general, creative writing I'm trying to help my students to interact with a real world language usage. I imagine that other schools all over the world, they teach poetry and they teach literature. Mm-hmm. And I think my students in Turkey, they deserve this as well. So using word language, real word language to express their thoughts and feelings, this could help them to improve their communication skills and become more confident in, language usage. Another example I think about all the time and I use in my classroom is the New York Times. The New York Times is a great place to use the platform to generate, to come up with lesson plans, with vocabulary, with reading, with debate ideas, yes, with teaching ideas, and I think these things are really important, because you can use them outside the classroom. And the last example for this activity was last year we had one of the units in the book was about an X place. I'm not gonna mention the place because otherwise they would identify the book and it would be a problem. So aside from the place, the students could not relate to the place in any way. So I used the place. I said, okay, we're gonna skip this and we're gonna do. The place was like it was a history lesson, obviously, and they wanted to talk about this historical place in terms of history, culture, geography, and all these things. So I told them, okay, we are going out today. Took permission from the school and everything. We made the arrangements. Thanks for the management for always keeping up with me with these things. And we did the historical lesson plan about Lulaburgas. We went and asked the students to go to the historical places in the city, identify a couple of the places, take pictures there. Interview a person at least from that place that they have identified. If the interview will be in English, that's good. If it's going to be in Turkish, I expect the translation and subtitles for the video. If you don't want to make a video, you can make a poster. If you don't want to make any of them, you can come up with your own project and report it to me and tell me what you want to do. So I think these activities and these experiences can help students, and indeed make students feel, okay, it's not always the book that I'm doing here. It's more than that. So outdoors teaching can be great experience and great environment for students and for teachers as well.
Exactly. I'm sure that you had a really great experience with the outdoor teaching with your students, and especially you also had really great. Thank you very much, Khaled, for sharing these activities with us, the outdoor teaching, really. And they're related with creativity, and communication and other language skills. Thank you. Let's move to another question. I'm sure that you have attended lots of training sessions. You also mentioned them and presentations. And what was or were the most interesting situation or situations that you faced?
Yeah, I mean, there's like all right, this question like brings lots of memories here.
Just one or two, we know.
So I think there's like this one session like recently that I have done. It was not about teaching mainly. It was about I was talking about qualitative data analysis with my students, and I was not aware that most of my students were PhD students back then. And I think the usually what we do is some teachers, I would say, that they keep their lessons as teacher-based classroom where the teacher do all the work, and this is really boring. So I try to flip that, and I start with the students first. So my first question for them was, I give them a poppy quiz. I asked them to talk to each other about the session that they have like signed up to attend, and I found that they have no idea about anything. So yeah, that was the problem, because the session was for advanced students, and they don't know. So that was a challenge. That was a challenge for me, to follow up with. But I think the most interesting one would be for my role as a teacher. I often found myself in situations where I needed to break through the barriers of conventional teaching and try to skip the traditional classroom environment and use the alternative, the outside teaching experiences. Through the years, it was a challenge. I mean, it's still a challenge in a way, but in my current place, so far, it feels it's not. There's always that fear that what if, and but again, I think these interesting experiences is what makes and develop our teaching experiences, and it helps us to reflect on our teaching experiences and adjust them in the future.
I got it. Thank you. Thank you very much, Khaled. Thank you. Really, it's really nice experiences that you mentioned here for sharing with us also. All right, so let's move to another question, Khaled. So, Khaled, as we know that, and after the couple weeks, the school starts, as you know that school starts, and we are going to be in a rush. So especially for the first week, as we all know that the first weeks are always really in a rush for all of us, for the teachers and for the students and for the parents, for the administrators and for all of them. Okay, so for the first week of the school, especially for the new teachers, what do you suggest?
Well, if I want to summarize it in 2 to 3 words, would be build a rapport with your students. Build a rapport. That's the ultimate advice for new teachers, is to have good communication and with their students. That would serve them a lifetime of good experience and no problems. But there are lots of things that teacher can do in the first week. And I think like all of them are educational based, but it does not necessarily mean that they need to teach. I think the first, like some of the activities I would like to share today, is that they need to create a welcoming environment with the students. And by creating a welcoming environment, I mean teachers could decorate the classroom together. It's a great group activity where they can get to know each other and know about each other. and brick dice between, like, it's the first week is the most scary week, even even in high school, because you didn't know who are they and what to expect.
Exactly.
And another activity that I really loved, and we used it recently in our CELTA course, is it's called the ball activity. Basically, you have a ball, and you throw the ball for students and ask them to say something about themselves and cooperate that with adjective that they would describe themselves with. And then each student will throw the ball to another. So everyone will be attentive because they're afraid that they're going to be hit with the ball if they did not pay attention. But at the same time, they would participate and they want to share, they want to talk. Another thing is establishing expectations. I do this towards like the second part of the first week because I teach writing and reading in my classrooms. I need to be clear with my students what they should expect, and I want to hear from them. I want to hear from them what do they expect at the same time from me as a teacher with them this whole semester or this year. And the last thing is we discuss outdoors activities together. What do you want to do this year?
The favorite one, exactly. Outdoor activities. I'm sure that they all love it. All right, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for the suggestions, Khaled, for the first week of the school. Thank you. Let me ask you another question. Khaled, think about yourself and how do you see yourself in 10 years? Will you still be a teacher, trainer, or are you gonna try another jobs? Hard question.
I would go back. Yeah, I would go back and use my favorite sentence, or like one of my favorite sentences that Mustafa Kemal Atatürk said about teachers. We ignite the road for others. So I would not choose another job. I mean, I grew up with parents who are teachers, and my last name stands for the teacher. So I don't see another job I'm doing. Plus, being a teacher does not mean that you're doing the same thing all the time. Being a teacher, every day there's something new. There's a different experience and different adventure when it comes to teaching and to training. So yeah, I'll be teaching, but hopefully with a PhD. So I'm trying to get to that now.
I see. All right. Good luck, and for a PhD. Thank you, Khaled. So let's move to another one. You know, when we think about it, sometimes the people, they say that, oh, I wish I could have that power, and so I could do that in really some difficult situations, and we really wish to have it. All right. So, but let's move into the classroom. I would like to ask the question related with the classroom. If you could have one superpower to use in the classroom, what would it be, and how would it help you?
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, when I ask this question to my students, all of them, they want to be invisible. So that's not. I think I would go with something like I want to have empathetic insight. I mean, if I have this superpower, being empathetic insight with the students, it would be, I would, like in a second, be able to understand the thoughts, the emotions, the struggles of my students, to put myself in their shoes. I mean, as a teacher, I try to do that, but with this superpower, I could do it better than that. Because our students, like they struggle with a lot, and teenagers, they are not good at sharing.
Yeah.
So they hide these things. So having this superpower would allow me to to step into their shoes and see the world from their perspective and feel the depths of their hopes, dreams, fears, and hopefully bridge that gap.
I see. I got it. Thank you. It's a really useful superpower, Khaled. Thank you very much. By the way, time flies, Khaled. Yeah, and just the 2 questions left by my side. So it's really time flies. Okay, So let's move to the next question, Khaled. So think that we'll finish the interview, Khaled, that this live session, and you step outside the home and find a lottery ticket that ends up winning $10 million. What would you do? A lot of things to do.
Do you have another hour? I would allow myself modest enjoyment, but at the same time, I have a long list of books I want to buy, and books in Turkey are very, very expensive. So there's like this specific place in Istanbul. It's called Minwa, and they have all these lovely books in English and other languages. I would go there and buy some of them, but also I would use them for orphan kids who don't have access to education, special education in English.
My God, thank you. Thank you very much. Would you like to say anything else about it, or this is all your plans with that money?
That's the general view.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Khaled. So and here is the last question and the most difficult one.
Okay.
Are you ready, Khaled, for that last one?
Thank you.
Okay, here is the last one. What is your motto?
Come on. All right, my motto. I was reading this interesting novel, or this is an interesting book recently after I finished my CELTA. It's called it's the name of the novel is Walden. It's written by American novelist and philosopher Henry David Thoreau, and there is this phrase. It's really simple phrase the phrase is simplify, simplify. I think my motto in life is simplify, simplify. And I mean by that nowadays, and we are in the 21st century, and our life is bombarded with information, technology. Our lifestyle is fast-paced, and I think this motto, or this phrase, simplify, simplify, is a call for all of us to simplify, is a reminder for us to step back from this noise, to reassess our priorities in life, to focus on what truly matters, encourage us to, to declutter our lives, to be physically and mentally, to find balance between our age and our connection with the world. And simplify, I think it aligns with the current movement towards minimalism nowadays, and mindfulness. It encourages us to reduce our ecological footprint and to create space for meaningful, experiences and relationships and self-care. And finally, as we grapple with all this noise and the complex global challenges that we have, I think this motto highlights the importance of understanding and addressing issues at their core. It encourages critical thinking, independence, reflections, and commitment to authentic values that sometimes are being lost nowadays.
I see.
So yeah, that's my motto.
Simplify. Okay, wonderful, Ali. Thank you very much. Okay, Ali, that's all my questions. And it's all. And before ending our live sessions, and would you like to add anything else or say anything else?
I would like to thank you for having me at this session. I was following you before, and I'm happy that you contacted me through our connected friends to host me here. I think that the platform here is really interesting, really educational. Teachers who come here, they share lots of valuable treats and the advice for other teachers and for students as well. Thank you for keeping up this great platform, and I hope we can cooperate further in the future and bring more PD for teachers, especially for newer teachers. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Khaled. Thank you very much. And I would like to say one more time, thank you very much, Khaled, for being with us tonight, with us tonight, and for the 226th session. And also, I would like to say thank you again for your suggestions and for your advice, and especially the most important thing, your time. You spend your time here with us. That was really wonderful, perfect for us. And Khaled Alostath was with us tonight with Teacher Talks, and we had a fruitful session with him, and we talked lots of things with him. And we are going to be here next week on the same day at the same time, as you know that every Monday at 9 p.m. for Turkey's time. So until next time, take care of yourself and take care of yourself, Khaled. And you also take yourself, and bye-bye everybody, and peace.
See you. Bye-bye.